Hey guys, welcome to another WoW Weekly with Myst. I hope everyone's doing good. Hopefully you're staying cool in the hot weather. Let's get started with this video. There's a lot of stuff to go over. So as always, we'll start with current stuff. So for this current week in retail, we've got the PvP Brawl, Deepwind Dunk. World Quests will be the weekly. There's going to be the Auction House Dance Party on Friday, and then also on Friday if you're NA, Pet Leveling and WOD. Okay, so for news, I've just got like 3 minor things to let you know about, and then we can get into the exciting Dragonflight stuff. So the first piece is Fearless Spectator. This is your reminder for the final weekend that you can obtain this. So if you haven't obtained this yet, this coming up weekend is your final chance. They ran it for 3 weekends, and the next one's gonna be the AWC Cross Region Tournament. It's gonna run on July 23rd and July 24th, and that is your final one. If you don't get your title within that one, you will not get it. So highly suggest that if you don't have the title yet, make sure to check out their official YouTube on those days. I will link the video that I did during the first weekend that they had this running, and you can check those steps so that you're all set to go and everything's linked properly. Another thing is that Blizzard had released a blue post mentioning that they are going to allow transfers of Cosmic Flux to alts. This is going to be called the Pouch of Prodigious Wonders, and you will purchase it for 1,500 Cosmic Flux, and your alt can get 1,250. I personally think it should be the same amount, we pay our fees on the auction house. I don't understand why we have to pay a fee on these bag items that we're sending to the alts, but at least it's there. So this is implemented already. So in Zereth Mortis, Quartermaster Vilo or however you say his name, he has it. All you have to do is be friendly with the Enlightened, so super easy rep. And then the last piece of news for current retail anyway. We got another Gorged Great Worm. It is a 6-month WoW sub promotion. However, if you don't want to wait, you can buy it on the store for $25 US. And it's interesting looking. It's not horrible. To be honest, I'm very picky with my mounts. I've got over 600 mounts, and I probably use maybe 5. Yeah, I'm very picky. There's a lot of mounts that I collect, and even some that I go through a lot of torture to collect, and it's just for the number. I just never use it. I feel like it's more the case on my druid because it's just more convenient to hop in flight on the druid. Where I use a lot of the mounts is on my alts that don't have, a shapeshift into flight. Nothing against it. I do actually like a lot of the Blizzard shop mounts. This one's just, I don't know. It's okay. I like the color. The color looks really cool. Also, if you play Classic, you will get the tab of Flame. Okay, so on to the Dragonflight stuff. So let's start with the Dracthyr, because I feel like that was the biggest part of this past week. This is something I wasn't totally excited for when I saw the reveal. It's not that I'm not excited to play a dragon. It's just I felt like it was kind of mediocre for a dragon class. And I also was a little disappointed that there was no tank spec in it. I kind of wanted to treat it like my druid, and I love my druid because I can be tank, heals, DPS, like, yeah. And yeah, but I will say the customization is pretty badass. There is a lot of customization. There is 41 different options you can do. This all involves like head options, your jewelry type stuff, face options, body, you've got your different forms, your human and then your dragon. There is definitely a lot of options in here for customization. You will 100%, unless you really just don't care what your character looks like, you will 100% be in the customization section for a while before even entering the world, for sure. So with Dracthyr, for those that don't know, Dracthyr is Evoker. You can't be any other type of Evoker, and you can't be any other type of Dracthyr. Like, Dracthyr Evoker is what you are when you pick that. So they have a new raid buff, and it's called Blessing of the Bronze. So it says weave the threads of time, reducing the cooldown of the major movement ability for all party and raid members by 15% for an hour. Also, here is the talent tree. So this is the Devastation Evoker talent tree, and then the Preservation Evoker talent tree. And on the topic of abilities, the racials for the Dracthyr there's Glide, which explains why so many people were comparing Dracthyr to a demon hunter. Because I will admit, at first I was like, why are they comparing it to a demon hunter? I see it more as a druid because you're going into a shape form and then coming out, or like a worgen, right? But once I saw this Glide, I'm like, okay, yep, that's why. So Glide is a racial, reduces your falling speed, and you can activate it with the jump key while you're falling. So it works exactly the same as the Demon Hunter Glide. It's literally the same name, and it can be used in both dragon and visage form. Soar is the other racial. Muster your strength and launch into the air. Cooldown begins when you land, and it's a 5-minute cooldown. So principles of soaring: while soaring through the air, pointing yourself toward a given direction sends you in that direction. Pointing yourself downward grants more momentum. Evening out can transfer that momentum forward. Pointing yourself upwards slows you down. When at your slowest, you will start to fall slowly toward the ground, forward and down. You also gain access to the following abilities: surge forward, flap forward a short distance, gaining speed, and then skyward ascent, flap upward, gaining height at the cost of some momentum, 5-minute cooldown. Also, tail swipe, lash out with your tail, knocking enemies within 6 yards into the air, has a 1.5-minute cooldown. Wing buffet, with a powerful flap of your wings, knocks away enemies in front of you, another 1.5-minute cooldown. And then visage is your human form. So switch between your forms. It puts your party at ease, significantly increasing out of combat health regeneration. So while in that form, your nearby allies will heal 2% of their maximum health every 2 seconds. Passive racials, there's Awakened. Increases your mastery by 2.5% if you're in Devastation spec. If you're in Preservation spec, it's 1.8%. Discerning Eye increases your perception by 50. Perception increases the radius of tracking mining and herbs and the chance of finding additional rare materials when gathering. And then the third one is Familiar Skies. You fly 20% faster on continents that you have fully explored. Okay, so now for dragon flying. So this is going to allow you flying early in the Dragonflight expansion. You'll earn dragon riding mounts as you're leveling through the Dragon Isles. It's 1 mount per zone. They will function as normal ground mounts and will start flying with a double space bar or when falling off cliffs. When you're in the air, your mount is constantly moving. You cannot stand still. You cannot AFK in the air. This is something that I really need to remember because I love to AFK in the air. If you guys have seen, my streams or anything, you know that I usually will be in the air and then I'll tell you guys that I'll be back in 5 minutes. Like, I am always AFKing in the air. You gain momentum when flying down at an angle, and you'll lose momentum when you're flying up. So once you run out of momentum and can no longer keep a consistent flying speed, it will start descending, slowly landing. You do not take fall damage by having your mount lose momentum and land in this way. So this is what your bar is going to look like. There's also going to be some dragon riding races. And there's a dragon riding customization. So basically the customization, it looks like this huge carpet. You just go to that and that's your barbershop menu. So overall, I'm going to say the same thing I did in the reveal. I still am not interested in dragon riding, but I think that's because I main a druid. And I have no interest in learning speeds and stuff like that. I just want to instantly be in my mount, I don't even like casting a mount. That's why my druid's in flight form so much. I don't even like casting a mount. So yeah, I just like to be instantly in flight, go to where I'm going, and then get out of flight and do what I need to do. To me, flight is just a means to get to the next place, so yeah, I'm still not totally interested in the Dragonflight, but I do think it's cool, or in dragon riding, but I do think it's cool that you can customize your dragon. Obviously, I will be doing dragon riding anyway, because, I'm pretty sure you can't play Dragonflight without dragon riding, so you're forced into it. Like everything that I've disliked in WoW, I will just get used to it and learn to accept it, It wouldn't be the first thing I didn't like in WoW. But I do think it is cool that you can customize. I will admit that made me feel a little better about it. As for the races, kind of reminded me of MoP when there were the races there. Also, Blizzard mentioned that they are planning on returning the Master Loot. So you will be able to turn Master Loot back on in Dragonflight. My thoughts on this, they depend on how you raid. My personal thoughts is if you raid with your guild, this is awesome. Master Loot is a good one to have when you raid with the same people over and over. If you're pugging your raids, Master Loot is, you can't trust it, pretty much. You might as well go in knowing that if something you want drops, it's gonna be ninja'd from you. You're not gonna get the item you want because they're gonna give it to either themselves or their friends, right? So that's the difference, My biggest thing is find out what that pug group plans on doing for their loot system and then decide from there. I personally wouldn't trust it. I only join Master Loot stuff with people I know. And speaking on, loot and all that, there's 2 dungeons that we discovered are getting added to the Mythic Plus dungeons in Dragonflight, and that is Temple of the Jade Serpent and Court of Stars. I was really excited to know Court of Stars was in there. For those that, know me and more specifically watched me during the Legion stuff, I love Court of Stars. Court of Stars is my favorite dungeon of Legion. Is it a pain on Mythic Plus? Yeah, it is. but I still like it, and I'm interested to see how Temple of Jade's gonna be on a Mythic Plus, because Court of Stars, we know what that's on a Mythic Plus because Legion brought Mythic Plus, right? So we got to experience that, as one of the first M Plus dungeons. But Temple of Jade is MOP, so it'd be very interesting to see how that one plays out. Now, with that said, am I excited to see dungeons that I've seen before in Dragonflight's M+? No. I think for Season 4, it was a cool idea to add, old dungeons into the Mythic Plus rotation. But this is making it sound like this is what they want to do with Dragonflight. And I guess in a sense, we're going back to Azeroth, maybe it makes sense to have all these different dungeons in M+. But I like new content. Replaying, I do old content all the time. I'm a mount farmer. I'm a transmog farmer. I go after toys, after pets, achievements. The last thing I want to do is old content in a current expansion. It be part of the current system. So I can't say I'm too excited about that aspect, but Court of Stars was nice for M+, and it kind of sucks when an expansion ends and you no longer can do that version of it, right? I imagine, since we're seeing this, we're going to see a lot of rotations of old dungeons, because people are going to get sick of those for pretty quickly. So what I'm thinking is that I think every season of Dragonflight is going to have, a couple of old dungeons tied into their current Dragonflight dungeons. Okay, so on the topic of dungeons, there is 7 dungeons that will be in the Dragon Isles, and then there's an 8th dungeon that's going to be, it's like a new wing of Alderman. So 8 dungeons in total, basically. Alderman will have a new wing, and it's coming in the 10.0 pre-patch. And it's going to have a member of the Infinite Dragonflight as the final boss. And then there's also a dungeon called Tazageth Academy, Ruby Life Pools, Halls of Infusion, the Azir Vault, Netharis, the Knocked Offensive, and Brackenhide Hollow. So those are the dungeons that are coming with Dragonflight. And like I said earlier, that Alderman one is coming in the pre-patch. I am really excited to see what the Alderman one will look like. I always really enjoyed that dungeon. It's just unfortunate no one ever wants to do it anymore. I just always really loved the look of Alderman and the type of bosses that you fought, and yeah, I just really love that. So I'm excited to see Alderman have like a sequel, So yeah, I can't wait to see what that dungeon is and all the bosses. And yeah, we do have a list of the bosses. I just don't know if that's a confirmed list. We'll know a little later. But at the moment, it does say the Lost Dwarves, Bromac, Sentinel, Talandris, Emberin, and then Chronolord Deos. So we do have a list that sounds like a pretty solid list. I can't imagine there's any more than 5 bosses. It is a dungeon. We also found out what the first raid will be. So the first raid is going to be called the Vault of the Incarnates. And it's going to have 8 bosses with Raszageth the Storm Eater as the final boss. So she is a brand new character introduced in Dragonflight. We will find out more regarding her through the quest line. To make it, quick and short, she's basically trying to destroy the blue Dragonflight for using arcane magic. And I'm just gonna say, Raszageth is pretty. I would love to have a mount as that boss. Yeah, Raszageth. This is Raszageth here, and she is a beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so some news on tokens. So, as you know, they returned in the current raid that we have right now in Shadowlands. And they are sticking around, so they're not going to vanish for Dragonflight, and Evoker has their tier token now. They will have the Zenith tier token, which is also what Monk, Rogues, and Warriors will have. So it'll be Monk, Rogue, Warrior, and Evoker now. And these are the other ones for the rest of the classes. And I'm just going to say, I like that Druid has the Mystic token. Yeah. For collectors, this I was excited to hear about. So we have some new achievements that are gonna for sure come in play for Dragonflight for mounts, pets, and toys. I was really excited to see toys on the list because I feel like toys has been kind of abandoned for a long time. I have had the top toy achievement for a long time now. I believe longer than the mount one. And yeah. So I'm was really happy to see that there'll be another one for that. So starting with the pets. Current top collection right now for pets is 1514. And there's going to be a new achievement in Dragonflight for you to have 2,000. That's great. I like that it's a number that you're not going to achieve on launch day when you log in. I really do like that. It's a number that will take you through Dragonflight. And yeah, I do believe that when it comes to a lot of these collection type achievements, I believe it should be a number that takes you more or less the next 2 years to obtain because it's supposed to be for that expansion, right? For mounts, the current top collection number is 791. And our new achievement will be for 500. Now, this is where I was kind of like, because while I'm glad that they're finally putting an achievement in, the fact that we didn't have one for Shadowlands, and they usually go they'll go 253, 354, I believe we should have had a 450, a 500, and then also a 550 and a 600. I also feel like sometimes they should determine their mount number depending on how many mounts they put in an expansion. For example, just if you did absolutely nothing in Shadowlands, but you came in late, did Zereth Mortis, and crafted all those mounts, that's like 20-some mounts you got just off of one simple thing. Well, we won't say simple. It is a little bit of work to craft those mounts. But fact is that that's just one section that has a bunch of mounts. There has been a ton of mounts added between BFA and Shadowlands that I do feel like the current achievement at the very least should be 600. And people like to get a mount for achieving their mount milestones, right? And yeah, I just personally think we should have had a little bit of a catch-up moment with mounts, and it should went up to 600 because so many of us are going to knock that out on launch day, that 500. Hopefully maybe halfway through Dragonflight or something, they add another batch, because anyone who is truly a mount collector already has that 500, Or I won't say truly, I know a lot of you guys work hard at your mount collection, but anyone who has a lot of mounts and farms them really regularly and has for a while will have 500. And for toys, the current top collection for toys is 753, and the achievement will be for 500. So now, what do you get for these achievements? There's actually 4 pet achievements, because right now our current is 1,000. When you get 1250 unique pets, you'll get the crystalline mini monster. When you get 1500 unique pets, you'll get secretive frog duck. At 1750 unique pets, you'll get Violent of Violence. And at 2000 unique pets, you will get Mr. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Mr. Muscoxilus. That took some work, guys, but we got it. Okay. I'd just like to mention, before we leave the topic of the pet achievements, that there's a lot. They put 4 pet achievements in and knocked up the number quite a chunk. Personally, the reason I think there's 4 achievements is because I think they get away with pets a lot easier. What I mean is, well, for starters, no one likes to have too many toys that do the same thing. And more importantly, what does the community bitch about the most out of the entire game? It's mounts that look identical, or a mount that has 10 different colors to it. And with pets, they get away with that. They could legit put out like 20 frogs of different colors and no one would give a shit because it's a pet. But if they did that with mounts, people would complain. And yeah, so I think because of that, they're able to put out more achievements for pets, because the pet collectors of the world are less picky than the mount collectors of the world. For the toy achievement for collecting 500, you'll get Mer glasses, which we're not totally sure what they do, but this is what they are. So as you can see, it says something looks fishy, cooldown reduced during the march of tadpoles. My guess is that that's what you're going to see, tadpoles. Yeah. As for the 500 mount achievement, we don't know what that is yet. They originally announced the Carrier Yeti, and it got a lot of backlash from the community for good reason. I have a couple of mounts that look like him. So I personally feel like that is a crappy reward to not only give for 500, but more importantly, we have not had an achievement to collect a mount off of a mount meta achievement or off of a mount milestone achievement for 2 years, right? BFA was the last expansion we had an achievement in for mounts. So the fact that you skipped all of Shadowlands and it's for 500, 500 is a solid, good middle number for a mount, right? I just think they should do better. And I think it should be dragon related. It should be some real cool looking dragon type mount. It is Dragonflight. Or you could always go with my... Do you guys remember a few months ago in stream where we were just blabbing about life and stuff, and I had made the comment of a flying school bus, a school bus that like flies in air, and yeah, that could be a cool 500 amount. Okay, so next up, let's look at some of the new mounts. So here is the Gladiator Drake. I think this one looks very cool. I like the detail on this one. And yeah, this is a good first season of Dragonflight Gladiator mount for sure. Fox Wyvern mounts. Not a huge fan, but here they are. Okay, and we have the Kieran mounts. Lava Slug. Not my cup of tea. Mammoth Lava. Now this is what I'm talking about. I really like these Mammoth Lavas. The best one there is the blue one, and I'm really hoping they're rep mounts and you can buy all 4, but I've got a bad feeling that since I love the blue one is gonna be some way tougher method, and then the other 3 just buy off of a vendor or something. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't mind working for my mounts, but like just one of these times could the mount I really like just be easy. Just saying. But yeah, when I get that blue Mammoth Lava, I'm totally riding that guy around. Even although I highly doubt he flies. And here we have some regular mammoths. I like these guys. The color doesn't really like snap out at me, but the detail does. I do like the little net saddle at the back with the luggage, and it looks really good. Moose bulls. That totally sounded like balls, didn't it? Either through the editing or however I said it. Anyway, let's try again. Moose bull. Now, I'm just going to say this definitely looks faction related, with the red saddle on that top one and then the bottom one being blue skinned. I don't think it's a PvP season because it's just not enough armor on it, but maybe a new achievement. As far as my thoughts, it looks okay. I do like the antlers. I think they did good with those. But yeah, it looks all right. Primal Dragonfly. So we have 3 colors. These are probably rep mounts. And I don't care. River Otter. The otters are kind of cute. The only one I really like in this list, though, is this black one. Yeah. This black one is cute. I would totally hop on this black one for sure. I do like that they are fishing type mounts, which makes sense. River otter, of course, but they have the detail, right? Like there's a fish hook. They've got their fish in their little bag there. And yeah, I really like the detail on this otter mount. And color-wise, black is the only one for me. Yeah. Salamander water. Let's see. They're interesting looking. As far as color, I'm interested in knowing where they're gonna come from because there is a lot of color variance here. You've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 colors for the salamander water. Yeah, I'm quite interested in knowing how you're gonna obtain all 10 of those. Snail, they're okay. I'll say it again when Serenade came out or whatever it was called. I don't care about the snail mounts. I know I'm like probably the only one out there. I know everyone loves the snail mounts, but I don't care for them. So yeah, it's okay. If I had to choose though, I think I would go with the bright red one. I'll put a check mark on it so you guys know. And then we have the Tall Strider Primal. These guys are kind of cute. I like the white one. And then the last one that we have at the moment is the Vicious mount. I don't really care for that Vicious mount. You know, the detail at the back looks kind of cool, like the skull and all that. But the mount itself, nah. Nothing too special there. As for pets, we gotta look at the ducks. So we have these guys. These are more like your teenager type ducks, I would say. I think they're still pretty cute though. I like them, and I really like the white one. Now, there's only one thing that bugs me about we'll just call them the baby ducks because they're the youngest looking ones at the moment. But it's the way the beak is. If it wasn't for that, I actually really like these models. I just want a duck just with the beak, you know? Like, it doesn't have to have all that stuff going above its head. Kind of like this guy. Yeah. This guy's a good example. Like, he's just got the beak. He doesn't have, like, this stuff on the top of his head. Other than that, I think they did a good job. So just a little side note, but while I was looking for a picture of some real ducks, I found this picture, and it immediately reminded me of both Pepe and Pokepok. So it would be totally cute if we could get some costumes for ducks. I really hope that one of the pets can actually be customized. I personally prefer I don't know, it's a tough call. I'd have to say, it's tough. I like them all. Maybe the green one. The green one's pretty cute. I do really like the simple white. Yeah. Although it's white and gray, I guess. But yeah, they're adorable. The Mechanome one, or whatever we want to call it, not a fan. It's one of the reasons I didn't like Zereth Mortis. I'm not really into the robot-y type, stuff. I'm more the cute, fluffy type animals. I'm sure, like many of you, will just collect them all, right? Okay, next up, this is just a picture of the Dragonflight Alpha map. So here we have the Waking Shores, Onaran Plains, the Azir Span, and Thaldraszus, and then up at the top, the Forbidden Reach. And then there's also the Murloc Map, obviously because of, the names there. I totally welcome any Murloc map. I am still one of those, as I'm sure many people, that back in the early days wanted to play a Murloc, and I still want to play a Murloc. Yeah. I just don't know if we're ever gonna get that. But yeah, I welcome anything Murloc. I love Murlocs. In the comment section, there was someone saying, "Oh God, I hope that's a troll, the Murloc map." And I just gotta say, I hope it's not. Like I said, I welcome anything Murloc, and there's so much cool things you could do with a Murloc map. You could have some crazy events going on, or some cute Murloc activities that, like, you don't even partake in, right? You just witness. And there could be some secret stuff in there. And just think, the pets that they could come up with, like, a bunch of new Murloc type pets. And yeah, I'm not sure if they would. It wouldn't be a bunch, actually, but maybe one or two new ones. But the reason I say that is because Murloc pets are kind of unique. There's not a whole lot in the game that you can get easily. And a lot of them actually come from BlizzCon. So yeah, I'm not sure if they would just be like, "Hey, go get these 10 new Murloc pets," but they could have some sort of secret where you have to go to that area to, get a secret Murloc pet. But yeah, look at those names on there. Oh my God. I don't know, but That Murloc map has made me the most excited out of everything I've said so far. Yeah, I want to see that be something cool. Okay, next up we have the Tuskar Tribes of the Azir Span in Dragonflight. So this is some models of them. So I think this is really cool. I've always really liked the Tuskar Tribes. Okay, so this next one is one I was excited about because, as you guys know, I didn't pre-purchase Dragonflight right off the bat, which actually shocked and worried some of my WoW friends because they know that I pre-purchase expansions like the minute it's revealed, and I have for years now. And so when I didn't, some of the people that have known me for a while in WoW questioned why. And I'm going to tell you why. One reason was because I wasn't sure if I wanted to play it, and it had nothing to do with the content. Right? Because to me, I'll play my druid in the crappiest content. Like, I always have fun. I make fun out of bad content all the time, you know? Like, hello, BFA and Shadowlands. But one thing that has been bugging me for, I would say, over 6 years is my bag space. And to me, alts are not an option, right? Because I need the bag space on my main, because my main is the character I play all the time. And most of my stuff is soulbound, so I can't send it to alts. And I've been playing 18 years, so a lot of it is stuff you can't get anymore in the game. And yeah, so I really just was hoping for more space, and we got that. So Dragonflight is adding, I, and I'm sure you guys as well, we knew there was going to be a bag coming in. They do it every expansion, but it's always 2 extra spots, and that hasn't changed. That's what's coming in. It's, the Wildercloth bag, it's going to be a 32 slot, general bag, and then Azir Weave Pack is a 34 slot. And both are BOE. They're obviously going to be tailoring. What interested me here, though, is that there is a 5th spot for bags. And there's been mention of these reagent bags. So you know what that means. That means that the 5th spot, you could put a reagent bag. Like, the 5th spot is for reagents. So you need the reagent bag anyway. Right. And I'm happy because pretty much anything additional to our extra 2 bag spots, or 8 if you're counting all 4, anything above that is more than I expect, because Blizzard always only gives us an extra 2 every expansion, right? And I've never understood why they're so stingy with that. But the fact that we have this 5th bag and it's going to, it'll hold reagents, I like that. The only thing that I'm going to say is, why couldn't it just be for a general bag? I hate when things are restricted. I remember the worst was when, if you play a hunter, and more specifically, if you played one in vanilla, you remember you had to have the quiver bag, because the quiver bag actually gave you like a boost on your ability, but you could only put quivers in there, and you lost like a bag spot. I hated that, and I guess I just wish that while I'm happy that we have more room, I just wish that it just was general, because for the most part, I could throw all my reagents in the reagent bag, Yes, it's full, but for the most part, it does all fit in there. I don't need reagent space. I need general space. you know, I need the ability to throw anything in there. So while I don't want to complain too much, because we could have gotten absolutely nothing from them, like always, but also I just wish you could choose what bag you wanted to put in there. One other thing that I thought I would add to this, and it honestly justifies what I just said even that much more, but there is another thing that they've added, and it is that the reagents stack size is going up to 1,000. So that is cool. You'll be able to stack more of those items, but all that means is that I'm going to free up space in my reagent bank, and I won't even need the reagent bag in my bags on me for a while, you know, like, yeah. So it just means more so that it'd be nice if that was a general bag. So yeah, that's a little unfortunate, because I never carry the reagents around with me. Like, I just instantly pop them in the bank and then, you know, go on my merry way. So yeah, but it's better than nothing. I just hope at some point, preferably soon, but at some point they change the restriction and allow you to choose whether you want it to be a reagent bag or a general bag, you know, because the reality is that a lot of the stuff I carry around isn't reagents. Honestly, there is one thing they could do to, like, fix people like me, you know, people who literally have been maining the same character for 18 years. Because most people swap their mains. Most people are not like me and main the exact same character for 18 years, which means you're playing the fuck out of them constantly, right? But the thing they could do is remove the restriction on the void storage. If there was not a restriction on the void storage, I would not have an issue right now. Yeah, it's the fact that I have max bags in my bank, and I have a lot of stuff, and some is like quest type stuff that I'm working on, achievements. Well, not really achievements like in your achievement tab, but like personal achievements. And then, you know, some other stuff that just kind of goes together, you know. Honestly, having the collection add-on really fucks you over as well, because it tells you things you need and then you hold on to them. Whereas if you didn't have that add-on to begin with, you wouldn't know you need them, so you'd just toss them, right? Yeah, if they would just remove the restriction on the void storage to where you could put anything in there, that would be a lifesaver. That is the next change I would love to see them do. Another thing I think would be really cool, and it would save a little bit of space, but our hearthstones, if we could just make one hearthstone be like this toy, and then it acts as the mage portals do. If you've ever played a mage, you know that you click your portal and then there's all these options of where you want to port to, right? And I would just love it to be a spell. And then you choose one of your hearthstones, which you no longer have to carry on you because it's a spell. And yeah, I have a lot of hearthstones. So that would also clear a bit of space. Also, a little extra info on the 1,000 cap that I was talking about earlier, just for those that are interested. Its gathered reagents is going to stack up to 1,000 in Dragonflight. So that's up from like 200. And then the crafted consumable item, which is 20 right now, is going to go to 200. So that's like stuff like potions, optional reagents, finishing agents, stuff like that. That will help a lot with space for sure. The only real complaint I have is that helps me in my reagent bank, but when I'm out in the world, I drop all my reagents off at the bank and then I go do my stuff. So when I'm out in the world, I'm not carrying any reagents. So yeah, most of what I pick up or have on me consistently is like not reagent stuff. So yeah, that's really my only complaint on, you know, why I would prefer that you have an option with that 5th slot. Okay, next we have the new Gnoll Models. And of course, Hogger is in that list. I think the new models look pretty good. I really like the blue one there. Now, I'm just gonna say, where are these guys from? I don't recall them ever being out near Hogger. But they are adorable. I love these little guys. They are so cute. I just don't remember ever seeing anything that looked like them, so they've got to be new, right? All I gotta say is, can the little baby ones be a new allied race? Because they are adorable. Okay, next up we have the Centaur Clan. So this is out in Honoran Plains. And so this is their models. I think they look a lot better than the vanilla ones. But yeah, they're looking pretty good. Okay, so these guys are just creatures, not mounts or anything. The Arcane Elemental Micro, that looks amazing. I love all those colors in there. The purple, the blue, the pink. Yeah, that looks absolutely amazing. Avatar of the Storm, Azir Defender, Bear Ice, the Bear Primal Cubs, they look adorable. I really like the white/gray. I'm not sure if that's white or gray, but it's an off-white. Beaver Primal Pet. Coiler Serpent. Yeah, that Coiler Serpent looks like the 6-month sub-mount. Dragonflight Elemental. These look badass. Earthen Pillar Dragonflight. Elemental Shard Fossils. Here's a fish model. Looks kinda cute. The Furbolg Primal. Horned Beetle Dragonflight. They're interesting looking. Ice Elemental Primal. Kirin Baby. So, in a sense, we're getting an idea of some pets in this little area. Kirog Grim Totem. Lava Slug. Lion Primal Dragonflight. And then Mammoth 2 Pet. So we'll obviously be able to collect those as pets. And then Mind Spider. Monkey Pet. Looks kind of cute. Mountain Giant Ice. The green one looks awesome. Mountain Giant Primal. The Oracle Primal. Oracle Primal reminds me of the Oracle rep farm. Peacock Primal. And the pet River Otter. So that's obviously an upcoming pet. Phoenix Pet. Porcupine Crystal. That'll for sure be a pet. The colors are interesting. A Primal Mantid. Rabbit Shaggy. While we're on the topic of Rabbit Shaggy, I'm just gonna say this is the year of the rabbit. So when Dragonflight comes out shortly after is the year of the rabbit. So I've been waiting to see something rabbit-wise in here because it's the year of the rabbit. We always get a mount for that. It's always on the store, so you do, it is a store mount. But point is, we should get a rabbit mount. after Dragonflight releases. So yeah, I'm very interested in seeing all models that pertain to Rabbit for that very reason. Rhino Primal. Those Rhino Primals, they look cool. They look badass. I like the green. I'm liking a lot of the green ones. Rhino Primal Ice. That one looks really cool. Salamander Water Baby. So those are obviously pets you'll be able to get. Possibly. I shouldn't say obviously. We are just looking at creature models. So, but I think those will be pets. Sea Shark Primal. Those look cool. I really like the Sea Shark Primal. Yeah. Sea Turtle Dragonflight. Nice. Sethrak Dragonflight. Okay, so some Valden stuff. Flying Squirrel. I really like these guys. I like the white and pink. And yeah, I hope those are mounts. That would be so cool to have them as a mount. Tauren Fire, Tauren Lightning, Thunder Lizard Primal. Toad Swamp. Those look pretty badass, actually. Treant's Dragonflight, Turtle Dragonflight, Twisted Ancient, Alderman Stone Guardian. This is a big list. I should have made a separate video for this one, but that's okay. I love the Stone Guardians from Alderman. The Black Dragonet Caster Dragonflight. The Black Draconet Warrior Dragonflight. Classic Drake Dragonflight. And Dracthyr Drake Skeleton. Dragon Crystal Dragonflight. The Dragon Drake Low Poly Dragonflight. Dragon Erzageth Dragonflight. Dragon Fire Dragonflight. The Dragon Jadsagith Dragonflight. Dragon Karaka Dragonflight. These look really cool, the Karaka. Yeah, I like the glow from them. Dragon Lightning Dragonflight, Dragon Low Poly Dragonflight, and Dragon Meridian Dragonflight. These dragon pets, they're fucking adorable. I love the purple one, the blue one. Yeah, the black one. Yeah, I love all of them. Yeah, they are so cute. Dragon Stone Dragonflight. Dragon Whelp. Okay, so these are more... Oh, they look so good. Yeah, they definitely have come a long way since the first Dragon Whelps. Yeah, these look really good. Dragon Whelp Proto. Eternus. Primal Death Talon Yellow Dragonflight. Primal Death Talon Black Infinite Dragonflight. Primal Death Talon Purple Dragonflight. Riding Dragon. The Water Dragon. So, really good list of dragon creatures, honestly. That concludes the creatures list. Now for some crafting. In last week's WoW Weekly, I did go over a bit of, well, we went in depth, really, with what we knew so far of the crafting, and I had mentioned some alchemy in that. We have a little more info now for alchemy. So there's, of course, going to be your alchemist stones that everyone's familiar with, if you're an alchemist anyway. There's always those stones that act as trinkets. They have versatility and haste on them. The haste one is cooldown of your combat potions is decreased by 60 seconds. Potions of power now grant you an additional 9 in your primary stat. The versatility one is your spells and abilities have a chance to increase your primary stat by 8 for 10 seconds and increase the duration of your active vial by 60 seconds. There's also going to be the Cauldron of the Puka, and it's a mana restoring feast that offers some sort of transformation instead of a well-fed bonus. It also comes in 3 item level versions. There'll also be the Grand Banquet of the Kaluak. It's a new performance enhancing feast that most raid groups will use, similar to those of past expansions. Unlike most profession recipes, this feast does not appear to have multiple versions. Horde of Draconic Delicacies is another one. It's basically a new version of the Shaolan Stone Soup. We'll have the Potion Cauldron of Power and Potion Cauldron of Ultimate Power. Okay, so this is the list of all the new potions. Here's a list of the files. There's also blacksmithing. There's a lot of new gear. There's boots and shields and all that. The item level on them is 350. And this is showing a requires level 70. So that's an idea of what item level we're going to be sitting at. You know, around max, at least in the beginning. And also there's a pet that the blacksmiths can make. It's called the Alvin the Anvil. Engineering is going to have some gun shoes. Jumper cables are coming back, so I always loved the jumper cables. For those that are unaware, in the past, jumper cables were a way to maybe resurrect a friend. Inscription, we're going to have this Scroll of Sales, which sounds really cool. It says summon a vendor of general goods. It has a 1-day cooldown, but I like that because as a person who my main is Inscription, I've been a little disappointed with Inscription for a while now. Yeah, so it's nice to see at least something cool coming from them. And then, of course, we'll have the Dark Moon deck. We always do. Unfortunately, they're usually useless pretty quickly. But if you can collect the decks fast enough, then yeah, the item level on them is a 393. And we do have some new missives that we'll be able to craft. Okay, jewel crafting. So you're going to have a lot of new gems, as per usual. And these are looking like some good gems, honestly. I'm liking where this is going. You're also going to be able to make some trinkets. They're a 350 item level. And neck pieces, they're a 350 as well. Damn! Wow. Okay. I just noticed there's 2 new cosmetic glasses. One is split lens specs and the other is rhinestone glasses. Rhinestone glasses, I don't know if they're going to be exactly the same, but there is rhinestone glasses that appear on the black market auction house. They start at $500,000. The reason is because while you still can get the pattern for rhinestone sunglasses in the game, it's a very, very low drop chance. So I am interested in knowing, are these a different type of rhinestone, or are they just adding rhinestone sunglasses to the trainer? Yeah, I'd be very interested. Okay, they are different. I just clicked on them, and this is what we're seeing for them, which is completely different than the rhinestone ones. The ones right now, there's like white decals on them, you know, so yeah, so they definitely do look different, but very cool, very cool. I always like, I'm a huge sunglasses person. Like, I wear them in real life, and I like wearing them in game too. So we'll have new rings, of course. There is a figurine that the jewel crafters can make. You place the figurine, and it's inspired by the Tuskar, and it will grant you plus 15 fishing skill to everyone that stands near it for 10 minutes. So that's a pretty cool one. There's 2 toys as well. Jeweled Offering. Humbly offer your most prized possession to whomever considers you worthy enough to accept it. And then Convergent Prism. Clutch the enchanted prism in your hand to guide a beam of light to a very precise location. And I guess it's only visible to party and raid members. In other words, that could be very trolly, but that's not where I originally was going with that one. I was going to say that, you know, when you're writing, it's nice to have markers down, and this might be one way that people throw markers down, is by throwing their toys in there. But you get too many people doing it and putting it in the wrong places, it could really fuck up a raid. Okay, so leatherworking has gotten, you know, typically what they usually get. So some new gear, there's some new leggings they can make, some new armor kits, and drums. And then the new toys that they'll be able to do is Tuskar's beanbag. Place a Tuskar beanbag that can be sat on and last for 2 minutes. There's the Gnoll tent, so place a Gnoll tent to rest and relax under. And then the artisan sign. Place a sign so everyone can know where the best goods are sold. Skinning, the only thing we've seen so far is the pheromone emitter. So open a bottle of pheromones, drawing all unoccupied skinning beasts and dragonkin within 60 yards to you. And I think we got a typo in there because I said beasts, but it says beats, and I'm pretty sure I'm right and they're wrong. So yeah, just gonna say. And then the last one we got info on so far is tailoring. So there's gonna be a thing called Cold Cushion, summons a plague of toads. Explorers League Exploring Tent, summon a plague of toads. Okay. That might be a Myst typo. Maybe we don't know what that tent does. And then the Forlorn Funeral Paul? Is that right? Also summon a plague of toads. Yeah, we just know the names of them. I'm pretty sure the only actual plague of toads is maybe, yeah, let's not believe what the use is. But those are 3 items that tailors will have. There is also this one, Duck Stuff, Duck Lovey. Take a nap with your favorite duck. I think that one's probably proper. That use is probably accurate on that one. Explorer's Banner of Dragon Isle Geology. That's a new guild banner. Been a while. So, cool. And then, of course, we have the new bags. So there's the Wildercloth bag that's going to be 32 slot. The Azir Weave bag will be 34 slot. So those are the 2 general bags. And then we're also going to have a 36 slot reagent bag and I guess that's a 36 slot as well. Okay, so one's green, one's blue, but they're both 36 slots. Tailors, at least at the start, are going to be a great moneymaker character because reagent bags are going to be new since we now can carry them on us. And everyone's going to want to free up room and they're going to want to fill that 5th bag slot. So, yeah, like you got it made, tailorers. You're going to be making a killing off of those reagents for, I would say, a fair amount of time. The only thing that sucks about it is because each person can only have one. And so, you know, there's no reason to have more than one, so you'd only be making money off one. And yeah, you're You're not gonna have anyone, like, unless they're buying for alts, of course, but, like, one character isn't gonna buy, like, 4 of them, you know? But yeah, you'll still make some good coin off of that, though. So that's what we know so far for some crafting stuff. Okay, so next we're gonna look at some weapons. So this is some axes, one-hand axes. I think these are beautiful. These axes look amazing. Same with this look of these ones. Very nice. So 2-hand crossbow, 2-hand gun, 1-hand fist weapons, 1-hand quest daggers. Daggers look really good. 1-hand mace. Those maces look amazing. Here's a 1-hand offhand. 1-hand sword. And some 2-hand swords. And that's our look at weapons so far. So those weapons are rumored to be through quest lines and stuff. This next group of weapons is rumored to be off dungeons. So we have some 1-hand axes. 1-hand bow. That bow looks amazing. I like that 1-hand bow. 2-hand crossbow. 2-hand gun. Those guns look really good too. 2-hand glaive. I welcome any new glaive transmogs because I feel like we don't have enough of them. 1-hand dagger. 1-hand mace. 2-hand mace. This is an offhand. And then pole arms. Some more shields. And 2-hand staff. 1-hand sword. I don't know what it is with these swords, but I think these swords look amazing. They look really good. 2-hand sword. Yeah, I love these 2-hand swords. Ian did an interview earlier this week, and there was a lot of interesting stuff he said in this interview. He made mention that Dragonflight is on track, and it will be launched in the time frame they said. He did say that they'd been working on it before Shadowlands release, which honestly, that's always been the case. Pretty much every expansion, by the time it comes out, they've already been working on the next one. Yeah. So I was not surprised to hear that. That's just how it's always gone. So it sounds like things will be on track, unless some freak accident happens. Yeah, cough, cough, COVID. He did mention there's no allied races planned for Dragonflight, so we will not see any of that. Their major focus is on Dracthyr. There was mention of the fact that archaeology might be updated in future patches. I really hope that is the case. Archaeology, while I still do it, it does suck to not have new stuff for it. Granted, I'm still working on some of the older stuff, but I really like archaeology. I hate to see it just get nothing for a lot of years. One interesting thing that he mentioned, and this one is gonna make a lot of you guys happy, but they are looking into adding a skip for Siege of Org. So I am one of the lucky ones that looted that mount pretty early in. But I did enough runs, because early in is like 20 some attempts. But I did enough runs to know how much of a pain that place is, because there's no skip, right? You gotta do every single boss. It's a long ass raid. They're not confirming a skip right now, but he did say that they're looking into making one for Orc. So could be in a future patch at some point. They also mentioned that they're looking to do smaller but more frequent patches in Dragonflight. And then also occasional holiday updates. are gonna continue in minor patches. Me personally, you know, without comparing things to Shadowlands, because there was a lot of stuff going through Shadowlands. They had a lawsuit going, COVID was there, you know, like, it kind of made sense that their patches weren't coming out too terribly frequently, you know. My personal opinion is that they put a lot of stuff in the game, so me as a collector, I feel like the patches are fine, you know? Like, I know there's people that would argue that, but as someone who does everything, I'm still behind when a new patch comes out, you know? Like, yeah. So I feel like the only people that maybe would complain that they're not frequent enough are people that don't do a whole lot, you know? They do one specific aspect of the game and then they want the next bunch of content, right? Yeah, but for collectors, I imagine my fellow collectors probably feel the same, you know, because you're just never caught up. There is always stuff to do. And because of that, I've never been like, God damn, when's the next patch gonna finally show up? Like, what's the hold up? You know, like, I have never in my 18 years of playing the game ever been like that. You know, like, has there been times where I know they're taking a while? Yes, I know their timeline, so I know that a certain time will approach when players will start bitching. I'm just not one of those players because I am, like, I have so much to do in WoW. So yeah. Here are all the Primalist tier sets. This one's for the Death Knights. This one's for the Druids. This one is for the Hunters. This one's for the Monks. This is Priests, Shaman, Warrior, Demon Hunter, Mage, Paladin, Rogue, Warlock, and finally, the Evoker. So since this video has taken me a bit to struggle to edit today due to heat, there's one extra thing that wasn't originally intended for the video that we can sneak in, and we just found out about a few minutes ago. And that is some cloth PvP sets. So here is 5 tints of the cloth PvP sets that will be available in Dragonflight. And I'm sure next week I'll have more. This is just the first one they've released info on. So yeah, for sure next week they, you know, by the time I do the next WoW Weekly, there should be a lot more being previewed for that. Okay guys, so that is WoW Weekly. I cannot promise you that this was not a long video. This this was probably the worst video for me to leave last minute. Unedited, we're looking at damn close to 3 hours. I am totally gonna make that shorter for you guys. But yeah, I cannot promise you it's 30 minutes like our normals. It's probably gonna be easily over an hour. But I hope you enjoyed all the info. A lot of stuff happened this past week. We got a lot of news. As far as what you can do in the alpha right now, there's not a whole lot that you can. Yeah. It's like, you know, basically if you've, you know, seen one person do stuff, you've seen it all pretty much. Like, yeah. There is supposed to be some updates this week, though, for the alpha. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed. Have a great week, guys. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.